I'm so sad that we weren't live moments ago because it really just sums up where this live show is going to be today, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Live on Two Wheels, your weekly motor. No, Ghost, you're going to go ahead and do it. Yeah, I can already tell it's not going to be good.
Welcome to your sometimes, a couple times a month, motorcycle show on YouTube, Live on Two Wheels. How was that?
Your occasional we do this when we have time and also feel like it, and we're sorry that we don't feel like it more often live show.
Yes.
That's fantastic. Guys, just a heads up, I have been under the weather for the last couple days. I've been coughing up lots of nasty shit and don't know how long and consistent I can talk. So that's why Ghost had to grab the intro. And what you guys couldn't see is as the intro music is playing, Pat and Ghost are here just like, dun, 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 dun. And I'm just like, nah. It's not happening today, boys.
I mean, it makes you feel better. I'm severely medicated thanks to yet another migraine.
But thankfully today we have someone else to carry the water with us.
Exactly. And that's what we have Pat for, to carry our water today.
With a bum leg.
Happily, yeah. I'll pack meal for you.
All right. So welcome, Pat MCHUGH from Revzilla. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. It's gonna be fun. Like I said, it's been a while since I've talked and hung out with you guys, so it's gonna be a fun one.
I mean, I guess with your leg out of commission, you had nothing else to do, so you're like, let me just go on Live on Two Wheels, I guess, because there's nothing else.
There's no reason. There's no reason to wrench on bikes if I can't go ride, during the week or anything like that. So I'm just hanging out here building Legos, and I figured I'd see what you guys were up to.
Yeah, well, we've been planning this for a minute now. I think we've been talking about it for, I want to say, like a couple months. And we just haven't been able to get the details down. We finally did, so super stoked that you're here. Good to see you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was a bit of an unknown when it came to my ACL surgery, when I'd be okay to get back to everything, and I'm glad it kind of worked out timing-wise.
Yeah, it certainly did.
Are you over here just like, how many podcasts can I get on? I need something to do.
Yeah, I'm going for high rank. It's not quality, it's quantity. So I'll probably bail out of here for a little bit.
Okay, so you had one yesterday. You got one today.
Yeah.
If you get one tomorrow, we'll call that a streak.
So. Yeah, I might have to go outside the moto industry though, and just start going to other activities like gardening podcasts and things like that, and hanging out.
Just start going on any random podcast that'll take you. And you're just like, so guys, about Brussels sprouts.
What you got to do is cut them in half and then saute them a little bit before you really get in.
Right.
Well, so if you really want to do them well on the grill, you cut them in half, you flash steam them, then you put a little bit of balsamic, some vinegar, some cinnamon, and a little bit of cayenne, and then toss them on the grill.
Episode went off the rail.
You're talking to a fat kid about how to cook. Come on now.
That's true.
We lost the sponsorships we didn't even have. So, so I guess kind of just diving into it, like, maybe you want to talk about how you got connected with these guys here and like why you're actually here, not just because your knee's blown out.
Yeah. So it was actually fun, like happenstance. I think. Sorry, I got my pup jumping in.
It's always more important. Hello.
I think we got put together, and it was like, I think y'all needed like someone to lead a ride at the last Get On Adventure Fest last year, and I was like, well, I'm doing the most fun route that we have because I love it and I want to do it again. I was like, y'all can join me, and then it turned into pretty much camaraderie, like those who have served together. We went through the dust and the grime of Wyoming together. And then I mean it's been fun. So I got chatting with y'all at that point, and then Patty, Rick, and I have been chatting nonstop ever since then, since we hit it off. So yeah, I'm stoked to be here. It's gonna be real fun.
So what happens when you put Pats together? They they attach.
It's a bonding moment,
It's easier in case someone yells our name. We just both turn around. Right. It's just much easier.
You said Pat earlier. You're like, the Pat will hold the water. I'm like, well, I'm not doing shit. What are you talking about?
Well, that's fair, but it's interesting on the layout here. We've got both Pats on the bottom, so I guess we do. I guess you could say we have this show down pat.
Oh, boo this man!
I'll allow it. As the guest, I'll allow it. Bit of a reach, but I know that dog's actually
Wow.
cool.
Wow. Okay. Fucking hell. Oh crap. Sorry. Whoops.
Listen, we got demonetized the minute we were born.
This show's never going to make any money.
I do feel bad about cussing, so it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, fuck it.
Double down.
I am trying to get better about cussing and not ruining any chances of monetization. So we're gonna get there together.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think we're 3 minutes in. I think we're fine.
well, go
I
ahead.
don't know.
Oh, well, I mean, obviously with Pat being here, you're basically the gear guy at Revzilla. Like you said before the show started, like talking about bikes, you're like, I don't know, but I know about the gear because I've wrecked in it enough. So how did you tumble into that position
Yeah.
with Revzilla being the gear guy?
Yeah, it's a fun story, and I enjoy it because it shows,
Right.
in my opinion, to people that it's like whatever you do in your career path, like you can do a complete 180 at any point and still have a blast with it. So yeah, I'm the manager. I think my technical title is manager of product research and testing, and now I've started hosting videos as well. So I pretty much any product that Revzilla brings on board, or that we consider bringing on board, or that like Dianese, Alpine Stars, and et cetera all launch. We meet with them, we chat about what we think will do great in the market. Obviously, we have a large influence on the market just based on size of sales and things like that. So our orders tend to go a little bit farther. So we get to have that, but it's like it's helping everybody in the benefit. So I've been doing it. I started in customer service for about 2 years, and I think I'm celebrating a decade at Revzilla this month. Um, Thank you.
Nice.
Yeah, thank you. So it's like but I was a federal background investigator prior to
Oh,
that. I thought that would be a fun job out of college, and it was not. Motorcycling was kind of my escape from work at the end of the day. I just go out and rip around Washington D.C. and was looking for an excuse to move back to the Philly area, and I stumbled on Anthony Bucci, his videos, hey, this is anything where we can walk the side and ride, and it was like, oh, this is crazy, and I just applied, got the job, and then it kind of stumbled into this career, 2 years later. So yeah, so it's been quite a wild ride, but going from having a badge and working at the Pentagon to uh, having Anthony, Matt, Nick, and the founders of Revzilla dress in like American Revolution gear and run around giving out free drink tickets for the end of the day for a picnic they just randomly planned for fun. It was a very, very sharp turnaround. So yeah, it's been quite a wild 10 years.
that office
Nice.
culture sounds friggin' rad.
Yeah.
Yeah, startup
I don't give
culture, and
out
I think
drink
at that
coupons
point,
here, Pat. Sorry.
no, that's
It's
fine. I
okay.
mean, at this point, it's like I might go to Patty Rick's house or head over to someone else's house and grab one of their drinks and out of the fridge and just run.
Yeah, come on.
But yeah, it's
Come on.
fun, man.
Hobble.
It was a cool culture to be a part of, and now obviously Revzilla has grown since that, and like we've branched out into
Yeah.
so many areas. But I just have fun educating people on gear and letting them know, like, hey, this is cool, this is not. If you're listening, XYZ brand, this is a dumb design. Please redesign it, and seeing like just helping people educate it. But you are right. I know nothing. I don't want to say that. I'm learning a lot about bikes, but when you have like Zach, Courts, Ari Henning, and Spurgeon Dunbar, like they know everything about bikes. I like being the gear side of it. And it's like, put
Yeah.
me on any bike out there and I'll rip it and like I'll have a blast and like go around, even get on Adventure Fest. That Tiger they just gave me one day and was like, go ride this. And I was like, okay. And like crashed a
Okie
few
dokie.
times and then was doing wheelies by the end of the day. And it's like, I'll have fun, but I don't know anything about the ride modes or what goes on with it or
You've
anything
gone
like
full
that.
circle. It's like crash it. Okay, cool. Feeling good. Wheelie time. No crashing. Perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a good comment from our buddy Hobbit of Chaos. Pentagon to high side, low side to live on two wheels. What a jump.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I
I'm
Dooley
mean,
right
having
above
more
that.
fun.
He's got Topo Chicos for us. Come on, Dooley, where you at? Come by the house later.
I love me the Topo Chico. I'm not gonna
Oh,
lie.
dude, they're so good. They're so good.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like
But
nice.
yeah, so it's been a fun ride, and like I said, it's introduced me to awesome people like you, awesome people from brands like all over the world that I get to meet with on a regular basis. Get out to go to EICMA and things like that. So it's been really fun these past couple of years.
Hey, Chase, what does EICMA stand for?
Well, no, I don't have that either today.
I got you covered.
Exposición
That.
Internacional de Ciclo, Motorcycle y Accessory. Wow.
I went through multiple
I
like
think you had a stroke.
dialects.
Or
I believe.
I'm not really sure.
Part of it felt English, and then it went British, and then Italian. Spanish was in there somewhere.
There was a skosh of Italian, but I don't think it was
skosh.
completely.
Is a skosh close to a scone? Like, what's the measuring distance?
No,
of
I think a skosh is slightly less than a smidge.
Right, but how many bald eagles per freedom is that? I don't do the metrics.
42.
Interesting.
Oh, 42. Yeah, that's
a
lot
great
of
number.
That's the answer to everything.
That's so funny, Pat, because I feel like you and I had a very similar kind of career path in that sense. I I went to school for computer
Pat was
science.
also in the Pentagon.
No, not quite, not quite.
I thought I
But
He was in the
recognized
octagon.
That would have been hilarious. He was in the octagon.
no,
Big
but I
Bear.
like went to school for computer science. Got a job doing that and hated every second of it, and used motorcycles to get away. And then I got out of that and started working in a couple of other industries, and then eventually landed back where my passion really was, which is motorcycles. And when I worked at Cycle Gear, I worked at a couple of dealerships, and then it got to the point where like I know what gear works. Trust me, I've crashed in enough of it.
Yeah.
Like
That's really all you need. Is like the people who are great at crashing tend to be great at giving feedback on those crashes, and it's like that's why it's like I crash more than I'd care to ever
Yep.
do. But it's like it brings great feedback. I grew up playing ice hockey, so it's like I kind of came from an impact gear area, and going through that whole kind of career option in the early days, and then it's just like, yeah, it's all similar. It's all protecting the head, protecting the limbs.
Your
and
poor
making sure you
body
don't
has
get too
just
hurt.
been subject to abuse since the get-go. It's just you have formed a callous wall
Yes.
around your outside, and your body's like, "Fucking dang it, freaking bring
Yeah,
it."
yeah. It's basically like a metapod from a caterpie. I've just built up
Yep.
a shell, and then I'm kind of stuck right there in the middle. I saw it in the upper. Yep, yeah, I saw it. No.
Okay, we appreciate that here, or I appreciate that here.
That's awesome.
Nice. So have you been
There you go.
a motorcyclist like your whole life? Like were you on a dirt bike at 3 years old or what?
No. So I grew up and my buddy had a dirt bike, and like when my parents weren't around, I'd rip it, and like when I couldn't get not in trouble. But no, I grew up going like the NHL hockey route. Was my goal. Like I was playing hockey, 7 days a week. I worked at a skate park, so it's like I did other activities and I rode dirt bikes at friends' houses. But then the minute that I could, and I turned 18, and I was out of the rules of the house, I went out. And started riding, and then I bought one immediately at 21 when I had my own place, and went on from there. And I'm 34 now. So it's like it's pretty much been dirt bikes and street bikes ever since. And it's like there was a couple years I didn't have a car, and I just had a bicycle for the winter, and then my street bike during the year. So it's like I've gone through the paces, and I did my dues on no riding. That it's like I'm living the bike life now.
Nice.
So what was your first bike?
2004 Honda 599, the Hornet.
Okay.
That was my first bike. I learned on like a Harley, like a Softail, like my dad's old bike. He would let me rip around on. And I learned on that. Did a couple long tours, got my own, and like spent more time fixing it. And then I got rid of that for my street triple, which is still my daily rider at this point.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Still rocking a straight triple. That's fucking great, dude.
I know. I have the RX from 2016, so the last that got the Daytona tail section before the all the changes happened, and it's like it was a 1-year color, 1-year bike. I had the opportunity to buy it brand new for a relatively decent price, and it's like I don't see the reason to get rid of bikes. I still rock it. Like all my race bikes are 10 years old, 11 years old now. I have a 1970 CT70. It's like I love old bikes,
rad.
and my problem is like I buy it, I'm like I'll sell it later, and then I never do. So I'm just making do with the old stuff.
I feel
So
that.
you have a big garage is what I'm hearing.
My garage is the same size as my house, and I'm not gonna lie, that's why we bought the house. I walked in, and was like, yeah, settled. Like I want this. So
Yeah.
Wait, your garage is the same size as your home.
yeah. I think it's like maybe like 5 feet, not as long, but it's like the guy who owned this house before me built a whole house size garage next to it, and it's like you could fit 3 or 4 cars in there. So it's like right now it's just all my bikes lined up. And then like a big workshop, a big lift and everything, and then all my wife's gardening stuff that keeps coming in.
Dude,
What I'm hearing is we're going to Pat's house.
If
I
I
mean,
found a house,
road trip. Let's go.
if I found a house in Georgia that was anywhere close to that, it would be like I will figure out how to make this financially work.
Dude, that was
Yeah.
one of the houses Paige and I looked at earlier this year was a 2-story house, like the entire size of the house is like only the top floor. The entire bottom floor is a garage. And I was like, this is it.
Why
We got
did
a
you
fenced in
not buy
backyard.
that?
Yeah.
They hadn't serviced the AC or the water heater or the furnace in
Who
15 years.
cares?
And the roof needed like I was gonna have to put like 40 grand in it, and I was like,
Who
it's a
cares?
I'm poor. Don't at me.
Yeah. Well, that's what like NJMP has those houses like at the track. You can buy it's like a pretty much a penthouse, like man cave up top, and then a full garage down below. But you can buy them next to the track, which is dope. I know Barber has the same thing. I think too.
Yeah, AMP has them. which is
Yeah, I
wild.
saw one comment say MTV Cribs, Pat's house. Like, y'all are welcome. I got the pit bike track in the back, the bonfire pit, woods that township would like me to stop riding in. And then I got a bunch of
Okay.
chickens. I got the
I'm
2
on the
big
way.
dogs. Yeah. Yeah. As much y'all want, whenever you're welcome invite to Philadelphia.
It sounds like you have like the most iconic, ideal motorcyclist Airbnb created. Like somebody rents your house and it's like, yeah, we got a 5-car garage, we got a pit bike track in the back. Just do whatever the hell you want. It's a good time. At the end of the day, go over to the fire pit and roast some fucking marshmallows. Enjoy yourself.
It's funny you say our host for JMP Cycle is Patrick Garvin, who I think you guys met out at Get On Adventure Fest because that's like his home base is right in town. He's coming out to shoot some videos in Philadelphia, and I was like, hey, I know the company's going to get you a hotel room. If you want to escape the city a little bit, you can come home with me on the commute, and I'll set the moto van up out back next to the fire pit. And I was like, you can just camp in that. And he's already like, I'm down. Like, not just one night, I might be there a couple nights.
That's awesome.
That's amazing. You can do a test run of it being an Airbnb, and then that way you have a retirement plan.
You can rent out my my smelly, gas-smelling moto van and all its accoutrements.
Hey, don't judge people. I'm not surprised.
Listen,
if people
I'll live in a van down by the river to ride a pit bike track every day. Fine.
There is a small river back there, so it is.
Oh my god! If I wasn't heavily medicated, I would be getting on the bike right now. I'm still packed.
Please don't, Pat.
From the barber trip.
Please don't.
But yeah, so I mean, there's a downside to it. I do have to live an hour outside the city for that. So it's like my daily commute is 2 hours each day, which I love on the bike. In the winter, it's less than ideal, but it gives me an excuse to like really go out, and I just use that as our testing ground. So a lot of people always think we don't test products for Revzilla, but it's like I don't remember the last time I rode in my own gear. It's usually something I have to go test ride in, which like I know a lot of people always love that concept, and it's like it's awesome. Don't get me wrong, but it's like I have that stuff I'm comfortable in, and then every ride you're like slightly uncomfortable because it's like I don't really like this, but it's like I already got it. Yeah, so I get 2 hours on each product
of my life right now. I don't know what any bike feels like to like really know the bike other than my one MT10. Like everything else is just like I'm gonna be on this thing for a month, and then I'll be on something else for a month, and you have to ride it because you have to put the miles in, so you know what I mean. Or yep,
you're right. The MTV Cribs comment is from Dooley, oddly enough. So that's our guy who quit with us to barber and has gone to Spain for us a couple of times.
Nice.
But yeah, Hobbit, I would live in a van down by the river regardless. You're very right. It's extremely cheap to live in a van down by the river.
Van life is great. I forgot to invite y'all to, when we got done from Wyoming, because y'all were figuring out that Triumph this year, I forgot to invite you over to the moto van for pink lemonades and vodka that night.
Oh,
they were flowing that night because everybody was so tired from it. But yeah, that would have been a good time. We could have hung out at we had like the Rever team. A couple of the Revzilla guys were all kind of camped in a giant circle over in a field. So that's ideal. That's ideal for me for events.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good time, dude.
Yeah. Next time. Maybe next year.
Yeah.
All right, Chase. Are you ready for your favorite section?
I'm gonna do my best for this.
Come on, amp it up.
Ain't no amping it up, but I'm gonna try to get through it without coughing up a lung. Let me get my screen pulled up, and we will do moto photo. Alrighty, guys. You guys know we got a Discord. It's full of awesome people just like yourselves, and we have a section in there called Moto Photo where you guys can post photos of your motos, and we like giving you guys shout outs. So we're gonna do that right now. That's the most energy I got. All right,
great.
First user is yes.
Affirmative.
That's confirmed. We have a comment here. Good weather for evening rides. Actually, a brand new GSX 8R, which is a fantastic addition to the sport bike category. You know, Pat, because you don't know anything about bikes.
This wheels, and it looks like it's fun.
It's got two wheels
and it's gray. I'm sold.
Yeah.
This thing's solid. Lovely colors in the sky too. I don't get to go on many like sunset rides, but that's pretty neat. Alrighty. Next
I stay
up,
at the office late just to get that sunset ride. You know?
That's nice. That's a fair point, especially with the hour commute. You like if you're gonna have to be looking at
skip traffic,
you know. Yeah. Next up, we have user I War Elephant, which is kind of an epic name. With a comment, finally got my Trident to Atlanta from Portland. Jesus Christ. Can't wait to see you guys around. That is one hell of a commute on a Trident.
Yeah.
Trident. but
That's
that's
a
a
good
long
looking
ride.
Trident though. That's a nice. I
Yeah.
like that
Yeah,
color
the
scheme.
orange is
Yeah, the orange
fantastic.
is cool.
Orange
Pop
pop.
too.
Well, if you want to see us around town, we'll be at Mountain Motorsports this Sunday in Roswell from 8 to 11 for their event. So come visit.
And
hang
by
out.
8 to 11, Pat means Chase will be there from 9 to 11. But yes, I
Fashionably
will be
late.
at Mountain Motorsports in Roswell this Sunday. Sunday.
Yeah, so if you're in the
Okay.
area and you want to come hang out.
Next user, we have Spills12, who is rocking the brand spanking hot off the presses new 2024 MT09 from the peeps over at Yamaha. A phenomenal bike and in the Yamaha blue. Fancy.
Yeah.
Went to the
Really
press
love
launch
that
on this
blue.
bike. It is absolutely sick. Yamaha is they're like Michelangelo or whatever, like with the they're chiseling away the marble, and the MT09 is just becoming really freaking awesome. However that needs to go, boys.
I went the
I
Ninja
didn't
Turtle
know where
belts.
you were going with that.
Yeah, okay. An artist that makes stuff out of marble and then they chip it away and it gets to perfection or whatever is where I was trying to go. And the final one, of course, it is SmartCon. So if you guys are not doing anything September 10th through the 13th, Ghost, where should they go and what should they do?
Just check it out in the Discord. We're starting to finalize some of the details for our annual get together that came from nothing, which is so awesome.
And is now
it's now in our third year, so we're going to be doing the mountains of North Carolina, Tail of the Dragon, Cherahalla Skyway. Woohoo!
The Cherahalla Skyway is arguably my favorite road on the East Coast.
And that's nice.
You guys are going to have a fantastic time on those roads, especially the Skyway. Tail of the Dragon will be meh, but Skyway for sure.
Tail of the Dragon's overhyped and dangerous and busy, and the Skyway is empty and beautiful and great.
Agreed. There we go. Thank you for being on our Discord. Make sure to post in the Moto Photo section.
Or you can post photos of your motos, and we'll talk to you about them on the show.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get to the meat of it. Pat, you've been talking about it so much, even streaming last night. Airbags. That's the new thing in the motorcycle gear world. So, if you want to just start where you want to, but Patty Rick's got one. So
the H Move, the best name in airbags. She like H Move.
Yeah. So give us the high level skinny on what's up with the airbags and why it's so popular right now.
Yeah, I think popularity right now is just based on we're seeing the market flood with options from brands like Alpinestars, Helite, Dainese, Climb, In Motion. There's just so many options coming to the market now, and I think it's the fruition of 10 years of work from all these brands. And if you look at Alpinestars and Dainese, I mean, it's almost probably coming up on 30 years of work for them. I think they started collecting in the late 90s, and now it's at the point where they launched in 2007 was the first time we saw an airbag deploy in MotoGP. In 2000, I think 18 or so, they launched it in the U.S. with a couple options. Dainese and Alpinestars, the Italian feud going at it, would always go tit for tat the whole way. So it was really cool to see. But I think it's growing right now because you're seeing a lot of people have a lot of options, and now they're asking the questions okay, there isn't just one option. Now I need to learn what the differences are and make my educated decision. So there's also brands that I know even Revzilla right now, we had airbags. It was rider safety month, and airbags are a huge factor for a lot of people getting back into motorcycles. There's an airbag save campaign, just educating people, letting them know they exist, because a lot of people get out of riding because it's so dangerous. So to give them the options. But yeah, I think it's a key buzzword right now for a lot of influencers, a lot of people out there, but at the same time, a lot of brands are starting to really try to educate people on it. So it's really cool to see. I love it. I love the tech, and I love the different options people have right now.
Yeah, you kind of touched on it, but I guess it is one of those things that kind of came out of racing, like a lot of motorcycle advancements do, where everybody's just trying to get that little bit of an edge of performance or safety. So you said 2007 was about when?
Yeah, I think there's one where it came out of the suit and exploded out, the airbag.
Yeah, it was like a
exposed,
dome.
Yeah,
it's it protected them, but then it grows out of racing. We saw race ones come first. Now we're starting to see ones better for the community. In the past 4 years, when I say now, we've seen ones designed for riders, but even Alpinestars' Tech Air Off Road. Like they just took what the Dakar riders are now required to race in and made it available for customers. Like they just transferred it over. So it was cool. I went to their launch in the US back in February before I blew out my knee, and it was like Ricky Brabeck was there, Skylar Howes, and they were all chatting about like, yeah, like this is what we wear, and we are required to, but we also don't see a reason not to wear it anymore now that the technology is there. So it was really cool to hear that the pros are even really into it.
Yeah,
Usually it's the opposite.
Yeah, Ricky and Skylar are super good people. I got to meet them on the Honda True Adventure Tour and like just pick their brains about it as well. And they're like he had the airbag while we were just cruising down. He was on a Transop, to be fair, doing wheelies everywhere, but you know, as Ricky would do. But yeah, dude had his airbag on just like he was out racing. So he definitely definitely isn't just telling people that. That's what he wears all the time.
Yeah, and it's at the same time too. Like they were on their rally Dakar bikes because they were practicing. This was in like February, so they were getting ready, like and testing for a couple other races coming up. But they were riding those things, and just to see the control on such a massive bike, and they were just doing wheelies down the road in the middle of Death Valley, just for for miles and miles and miles. And it's like that's cool. Like you get paid to do that. Like that's awesome. So cool guys, very nice too. But it was cool to pick their brains about it. Yeah. So yeah, airbags have been. Again, I mean, when you take armor in motorcycling and you advance the impact absorption energy 95% further past those guidelines, I mean, it's almost like a no-brainer. As long as you're looking for torso protection and that's where your impact happens, airbags are an easy option. I think it's just the cost of goods of getting into it is usually what holds a lot of people back, but that's bound to come down as more brands get into it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I have a question, Pat. Ever since because I've been testing the Tech Air 5. We did a video on it recently, and when I first got it, Alpine Star sent it out just because we were going to do like a track video, and they were like, "We'll send this out so it can be part of the whole package or whatever." And in full transparency, I wore it on the track for the shoot, and then I didn't wear it much anymore. And then started talking with you guys, and we were, doing some videos and stuff. So I started wearing it on the street a lot more. And it has become a thing where if I don't have it on, it feels very strange, and I feel very
naked,
vulnerable.
Right?
Yeah, well, not naked, but like I feel a lot more vulnerable on the road. Do you find the same situation?
Yeah, so it's like I think it's the same thing. There's certain things in my riding that it's like even if I'm running down the street, if I don't throw my gear on, I feel like I'm lost. Like I feel like something's off. Like gloves to me is the number one thing. If I don't ride, like even if I'm going to the gas station, we have a gas station at the end of our office's block, and then we have Urban Outfitters, which has like a cafeteria. I think you might have visited that, Chase, when you were in the Philadelphia area at that point. It's an amazing cafeteria. It's right down the road. I have to have the helmet on. I have to have my gloves on, like at the very least to go that quarter mile. And it seems to be the same thing with like airbags to the point where when I was riding out in Death Valley on the Tech Air off-road, I got to keep that one and keep continuing to test it when it was launching. And it's like I could easily just toss that on and go out for a dirt ride. And it's like there's really, unless I'm racing, and it's like we're racing, I only wear chest and back protector for woods racing. But it's like if I'm going out on a casual ride, why wouldn't I wear it? Like it's like the protection's all there, and it's like I'm guaranteed that extra impact protection should I need it.
Right.
Yeah, so I totally agree. It's funny that I don't know how your experience was at the track. I know I was surprised to learn Rocco Landers, who is he races for the Vance and Hines team and a couple other teams for Moto America, and he's on the Revzilla team now. He wears the Tech Air 5 underneath it. He doesn't wear like the Pro Race, the Tech Air 10, like the additional coverage. He loves it, and he doesn't unzip his suit once throughout the day. He just leaves it on and completely zipped up, and it's like, good for you, man. That kid is crazy fast, but I guess he likes wearing it.
It's really low key, and like the only thing you can even really feel while you have it on is the back protector part, which just feels like you have, a large back protector back there. But like, I was kind of surprised by the weight because I was worried, like all this airbag shit, it's gonna have to be heavy, and it really doesn't feel like that. I don't know if that's the way they have it, to how it drapes over your body or what, but the weight is dispersed like incredibly well. I never find myself like having to, if I'm out riding and filming a video, like having to stop and like take it off or anything like that. I'm like very comfortable just chilling with it on, but that's also because I'm used to the terrible Georgia weather most of the time. So it's just like you're already disgustingly hot and the air's hot. So you're just like, I'm here.
Me filming yesterday, just sweating to death. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's how
I
I
think it
am too.
was.
And it's like it's like the Mid Atlantic is just pure humidity in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, and then I'm
Mhm.
a lot of times in bumper to bumper traffic, typically going in between cars. So it's like I thought more gear would be worse, but I mean, then you got like the H move that Patty Rick that you have. That it's like it's just a backpack. I mean, you can toss it over your gear, and
Yep.
just like I wear a backpack every day on the way to work, like that's a great option.
Yep. I love this thing. I actually spent most of the day yesterday filming this video, and was going to go shoot some more today, and then woke up and my brain was on fire, so that was fun. But yeah, even yesterday in traffic, 90 something odd degrees, about 900% humidity, and it was fine. You know, not a big deal. I was really surprised at how well, like when you zip the backpack portion off, how good it feels. But
Yeah,
it's solid. I'm a fan.
yeah.
I don't
Is
I don't
yours
ride
the
without it.
tethered version? Is it the tethered version or the electronic? Yeah, okay, I was gonna say I always recommend the tethered version for that because you get protection under 15 miles per hour with it. Whereas with they have an electronic version. You need to
Yep.
buy the fork sensor in order to make it protect you at a standstill. Of course, that fork sensor isn't available in the U.S.
Yep.
The Helite doesn't make it available, so it's like you just don't have protection under 15. So it's like there's like pros and cons to every unit out there, but that was a very glaring one for me.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I talked about in the video is that like I prefer the mechanical tether for the fact that like even at a standstill the electronic one isn't going to work. That being said, really at a standstill this one's not going to do a ton either unless you like really get hit. But I think I was talking about that as a semi truck rolled over a double yellow and into my lane and almost creamed me yesterday. And I like had half a mind to yank the the thing like as he was I was like, "Oh god, oh god." Like I just like the fact
Prepare
that
yourself.
if I thought about it well enough, which in hindsight probably is a terrible idea, that I could easily just yank the ripcord and deploy it.
Mm. That's what we did last night on the Best of Live because Spurgeon, we are the Best of Live. Sorry, I'm stealing your guys' name. It was the Best of Airbags, and we did it live on YouTube just to see who was interested in interact with the chat. And at the end, he's like, maybe in a couple minutes, no, we're gonna put that airbag on Pat and deploy it. I'm sitting there like, what the hell? Like, what did I do?
You're like,
And he
God
just
dang
yanked
it.
it at the end. Yeah. So we do that more often, but it takes something like I think it's like 45 pounds worth of force to pull those cords.
Yeah, it's somewhere
Although
between 45 and 60, I believe.
And that's why
yeah,
Spurge struggled with it a little bit because
and that's like all the time. Like you got to put your weight into it. So seated was awkward, but I see we don't
yeah.
carry them, but I know they're out there like the airbag jeans. And man,
Yeah.
if any of my friends wore those, every time we come to a gas stop, I'd just I'd
Oh
like
yeah.
mess with them and I hand them like $50 for the replacement cartridge, and I'm like, I'm sorry, man, like I can't resist. And it's like
Dude,
this instant pop it to like give them the instant Kardashian. But it's like the technology's cool. Yeah, it's cool to see all this stuff coming out there.
it's not a BBL, it's an ABL, it's an airbag lift.
Yeah,
Um but I love that the cartridges are so cheap on these too. It's $20 for another cartridge for the Helite backpack. The electronic one isn't bad. I think it's 80 and you could still do it yourself.
yeah.
I
Yeah, and
spoke
that's what
to
we're
the
starting to
Helite
see
guy.
everybody gravitate towards is like the Tech Air 5 is the most popular one really out on the market. That's the one Chase that you have. And it's like that's just been out for so long. And I think the liability was probably the Europeans are so scared to come to the US with anything because we sue everybody. So it's like I know they always try to
Fair.
build these things in there. So it's like their thing was like bring it back to us. We'll check it. We'll make sure it's good. We'll repack it and send it out there. And I feel like they've worked in some way to give the ownership back to the customer. Where it's like Alpine Stars, the new Tech Air Off Road, the new 7X that they launched at MotoGP. Those are both replace them yourselves at home. And like the rumor is, every other one in the line will start to drift with updates into that because that's what everybody loves about the Helites is you can do it yourself. You can replace the cartridge, like pack a couple in the ride. So I have a
Yep.
feeling that's where everybody's going to be going soon.
Yeah, I ride with 2 spares just in case because you never
Mm.
know. But yeah, I
I've seen
really,
you
really
ride.
like that.
Yeah, I've seen
Yeah.
you ride. We know why.
Yeah. You're like
Shots fired.
Patty Rick's doing triple digits off road like an idiot, giggling like a schoolgirl. He should probably have his bookable spares.
I was right behind you on that road, and I was giggling right there with you in the
You're having a
comments.
great
I think that was a cardo day for a while.
dude. I still talk to people about that. It was so fun. I really
Yeah.
appreciate you. Thank you.
That was the day that like Cardo launched like the group chat, right? Like where you could record the entire group conversation.
Yeah.
I think we were playing around with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
God, man, that noise and Cena's noise. So it's not just them. Haunts me in my dreams. Just because I put it on like 3 times a day, and you hear that go off, and you're like, what the hell's that?
Oh,
Dude, like
nice.
it's so. I wish you could change the volume of like the welcome and the turn off noise. You can't.
Mhm.
And it's the most obnoxious thing because sometimes I turn it on in the morning and I'm like half awake and it's and I'm like, oh god.
But you
Like, am I-
Yeah,
can.
The intro music, can you turn that one down? I've never
It's
tried.
like
I just
it's
always
like
turn it on
this.
off my head.
Yeah, if you go into the advanced things in
Oh,
the
I
app,
turn it on and I'm
there's
like cranking it volume down, and it still just blows my eardrums out.
yeah, there's different sound levels. So it's like I've had it
Mm.
where like the system sounds were so low. I was like, did it turn on? And I'm like, oh, I
Mm.
guess it's low. So I'll start playing the music, and the music's like so loud. So yeah, check the app.
Yeah, I will
Yeah.
look. Beats me. I'm sure
I
that.
got mine sitting on. I think just to get some exhilaration, I put a fan in front of the driving simulator, and I put my helmet on just to feel like I'm out riding a little bit. But
I
again,
got
as I just got
The
approved to
closest you can
drive, so
get.
like I'm pretty far away. Yeah,
I got wifey's Orion here somewhere. It's back there. You can't. Oh,
Yeah.
you could kind of see it. Little XD4 on a
Nice.
pile of on a pile of clothes. You know how it is.
So with these airbags, like obviously they're like there's like the standalone, there's the backpack. Is it built into like jackets currently, or
I think
yeah.
Alpine has a couple jackets, right?
Yeah, so there, that was what Alpine Stars originally launched. They launched the street and race Tech Airs, and that was like you zip it into a matching jacket and plug it into the jacket. And I think that's where they kind of ran into an issue. Dainese did the same thing. They thought people wanted the airbags paired into the jacket, and what I think people really realized was like they want the airbag and then the option for the jacket that they want after that. So we've steadily seen them change. Whereas like I think Dainese still builds their D Air system into suits, in like race jackets, and everything like that. But they also have a standalone like the Smart Vest is their standalone option that it's most known for. The Tech Air
yeah,
5 is standalone, but Alpine Stars just launched the Tech Air 7X at MotoGP that I was talking about a bit ago. That's going to be the one that you can pair into suits. They haven't launched any of the suits or jackets yet. That's coming like in the fall, but you'll
Mhm.
actually be able to plug it in and put the LED screen like right on your forearm, so you can see what the status is while you're out riding if there's any issues. But it can be worn on its own. I think is the biggest thing. Like you can plug it in or wear it on its own. I think that's going to be a key component for a lot of people, so they can bring whatever suit you want to the the arena.
Yeah. And you said
Alpine
that.
Stars also has the Tech Air 3 vest, I believe. Because I was talking to, I didn't realize how long airbags had been a thing in the market. And on
Yeah.
the MTO9 launch, Heath from Alpine Stars was there, and I had a long conversation with him one night. He was giving me like a product walkthrough for the video of the Tech Air 5, and me and him were just chit chatting because like I'm not like engrossed in gear. Like I just kind of see stuff as the consumer does, and I was, sitting there talking to him, being a typical idiot. I'm like, yeah, this Tech Air 5, it's like, finally, airbag technology is here. He's like, oh, yeah, it's been here for like 10 years, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Finally.
Yeah, so, but I mean, it's good information for him either way, because like that just goes to prove that a guy who does literally nothing but motorcycle stuff wasn't aware that airbags, had been in the market for that long. But so
Yeah.
we had a long conversation about like all of their offerings and like content we can make around them just to help like spread information about, the Tech Air 5, it's very expensive. I totally get that. In my video, I didn't even use the word buy it. I used the word invest in it type thing, because when you're talking about, what is it, like 700, 800, like somewhere upwards of that range, that's not a purchase. That's like investing in your safety and
It's
all. So
insurance. Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
yeah. But the Tech Air 3 is a lot cheaper from what I understand. I think it's, I don't know what the price. I'm not even going to try to say it, but
Like it's 650. Yeah.
If
yeah,
only we
so it's
had a
like,
gear guy from Revzilla that would know
yeah,
these
true.
things.
But it's like a vest, and one of them is like a black leather vest. And in my head, you go to Florida and you see all those guys riding around, no helmet on, the wife beater and shorts, and I'm like,
Jean shorts.
yeah, if I made a video. If I made a video on this Tech Air 3, this black leather one that would look good on a cruiser or something like that, I could see a world where like I could convince somebody like that to wear an airbag vest and, massively increase their safety. So, we had a long conversation and saw a lot of really good opportunities for us to make some content to just, if we can help people stay safer while riding, I think it'll massively increase the amount of people we have riding, and just more bikes on the road, more awareness, better for all of us type situation.
Yeah, and like I think what a lot of people don't realize, like I said, I think I mentioned earlier, like the U.S. being a very litigious country. The Tech Air Street and Race, the original ones, launched in Europe like 3 years before we got them. And we were begging, like, hey, man, like, get them over here. Like, we'd love to sell them. We'd love to learn about them. We love the technology. It helps riders. It saves them. And they were just so scared of like the legalese in their handbooks, like to really protect the company from anything. And then we saw it trickle out.
That's
And I think
fair.
we ended up getting like the V2, like the second edition, but they launched it as the first as we got there. But the off road's the best example too. I mean, that the Tech Air off road that just launched in February in the US, they've been riding with it at Dakar since 2019. Like they even did a commercial back then, and then it just never made it to market. And I think technically, when you look at the line, it's the third edition of that airbag is what finally made it to
Jeez.
market, so they could finally find a viable. But then, if I was talking with, I don't want to just say it, like I was casually talking to Jason Anderson. They were in Philadelphia for Supercross, and they swung by our office to check out the studio and everything like that. I was able to interview him, and he's like, yeah, like we're already wearing sensors for an MX version, like that is coming. Like FIM wants it in every race league, so now that FIM is kind of partnered with Supercross, MXGP in Europe, they run Dakar, like they're mandating it across the board. So you're going to start seeing these things come because the racers have to get them. So they're just going to trickle the investment. Like Alpine Stars is spending, I don't even know what the actual number is, but an insane
A
amounts
lot.
of money. Yeah, to get these for the pro racers that they're getting their investment back by bringing it to market. But yeah, it's like people just don't know about it, and that's why I think we did the airbag, like kind of the best of airbags last night was live on Revzilla's YouTube channel. We had kind of like a safety awareness month, and then we have the airbag save campaign that's going on. It's really just like if you have questions, ask. There's no better way to learn about a new product and new safety gear than to ask. But like, it's really cool to see the progression in such a short time frame of really, let's call it, yeah, like Heath said, 8 to 10 years. We've seen it really just take off from a non-existing market to what it is today.
Agreed. Yeah, I think not to name drop again, but I was riding with Ricky and Skylar and old Johnny Campbell, the fucking Dakar, Baja 1000 legend. And that dude like saw my backpack and was like, "Oh, I had not seen the backpacks before. Like that's so rad," because they really only deal with Alpine Stars. They're sponsored, and I get it. So I think he was like, we were talking about it for a minute, and he jumped on the phone with somebody from Alpine Stars while we were talking about it to talk about a backpack.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, that's the world I'm living in right now." Okay, this is wild. Like,
Yeah.
this is the
Well,
weirdest thing.
I had to fly back with my Tech Air off road, and I'll tell you, there's no set like a nerves of getting on a plane when you checked an airbag that looks 100% like a bomb. And you check it, and like I had 2 glasses of wine at LAX, like I was getting ready for a red eye on the way back, and I'm
Yeah,
just sitting there, and it was a delay on takeoff, and I was like, this is where they bum rush me and take me off the plane, like it's happening. But I talked to them. I got on a call like leaving the airport because I was overthinking it, and the Alpine Stars guys like, dude, we fly with 5, like 2 times a week in our check bag. Like they're used to it. Even the TSA agents are seeing it more, especially at LAX. They're seeing these things travel more, that they're getting used to it. So, but yeah,
yeah.
man, nothing made me more nervous than being on an airplane, very tired from driving 5 hours back from Death Valley to LAX to catch a red eye, and just being like, I might get arrested tonight. Like it was
Dude,
crazy, and then it's totally fine.
I had the same feeling, and mine looks like a backpack, and like, that TSA puts that slip in your bag every time they check it. So my checked bag had a slip in it. I had 2 backpacks in that bag coming back from the West Coast. Both of them had slips in it, and then the airbag itself had one of those. Yeah, hold
It's a
on, I got
keepsake,
it.
baby. You kept
Yeah,
that one around.
I've got like 3 or 4 of them around here. It's hilarious, but
Yeah.
I found one. I found one yesterday. I was disassembling the bag for the video and found one in there. I was like, "Son of a bitch!"
I know. So that's like it's just cool because, like I said, everybody's learning about it now, and we'll probably see it trickle down. I don't think this is me personally. Like I don't really know what goes on in Europe. Like Europe mandates helmets. The U.S. has struggled with that for years. It's like I could see a future where Europe mandates airbags for riders under a certain age, maybe like a learner's permit. You have to do something along those lines. But it's like I don't think we'll get there with the U.S. But I was very shocked to see even Harley now offers an airbag system. It's basically, I think it's the Smart Vest from Dainese in
Mhm.
leather vest form. But it's like that if that market is willing to accept that this technology is out there and is safe, like I mean, the only one left is the MX like market that hasn't really seen anything come to that. So yeah, I think it's really cool. It's cool technology. As far as gear goes, this has been like the new tech boom of our industry that we got to see kind of emerge and be a part of at Revzilla. Have seen it like kind of flourish as well.
Yeah, you're kind of at ground zero. So, question about and you may or may not know about the Tech Air off road. Does it have like a road mode or like an ADV mode, or is it just off road?
No, there's 3 modes. There's street, and it's the same one that Chase has in his Tech Air 5. Same
Okay.
exact mode. Then they have enduro, and then they have rally. And it's like they were even kind of tiptoeing around what each of those two means. Rally is basically what Skylar Howes and Ricky Brabeck are doing.
Yeah.
Enduro is tight, slower speeds, a little bit more technical, probably closer to what I think what we were doing in Wyoming, since that was more of like a gravel road route. Road mode would have been totally fine for us.
Cool.
There's a dude out of Australia. I don't know how to pronounce his name because he's Australian, and no matter what, I'll get it wrong. But it's like Airyman.
Yeah,
And he
Airyman.
actually, yeah, Airyman. He does an ADV, and he puts the Tech Air 5 on, and he rips a MX track in his backyard on an ADV bike in road mode because he was testing to see if it would detonate. And even Alpine Stars uses that as marketing. Like most people are fine in road mode because look at what extremes it can go to. But it is
Yeah.
cool to see them have the other two for like specific uses out there.
Yeah, I think that's so interesting. I recall that video because like when he's going over the jumps, like from a physics standpoint, the parabolic arc makes perfect sense.
Mhm.
So like it's not jarring at any point, really. Like the landing's a little jarring, but that dude knows how to ride and he can absorb those bumps really well. So that's really interesting. Okay, cool. Because my next investment for myself is probably going to be the Tech Air off road.
Yeah, it's a cool system. Like I said, I was pleasantly surprised about it. I think they did everything right. That was the first one where you could replace the canisters yourself, which to me was like the biggest thing
Yeah.
holding them back.
Yeah, that's
But
why
it's
I'm
surprisingly cooling. Like, I mean, our only
Mhm.
critique about it is that there's no like adjustment strap at the forearm because like that Spurgeon loves like strapping armor down as tight as possible on his forearms. And
That's
it's like
true.
if that's our only critique, like I think that's a strong thing. You know, like
Yeah.
only having small little nitpicks like that.
Yeah, if Spurge could cut his circulation off with armor, he would.
Yeah, he loves it right there. Like he wears it tight, and like even like I said, myself when I'm out riding in the woods, I typically am roost and back protector. Like, and that's pretty much it. Like I take the sacrifice of protection for more mobility in
Mhm.
my racing. But it's like, I mean, I'm not a good racer, so don't take my word for it. But it's like what I found to be comfortable, and I was very comfortable. I think we did. That was when Death Valley got flooded, so it's like we were stuck in the town. We couldn't even do dirt bikes through half the sections because like there was river crossing. So it's like Death Valley, everybody knows it for hot and like death and like a dry lake bed. It was a full lake, and it was raining almost the entire time and flash flooding every night we were there. To the point where
Wow.
the hotel was like, "Do not check out. You can't leave. Like there's no road to get back." So
Yeah.
it was very
There's
interesting.
nowhere
It
to
was like,
go.
That's
yeah,
a
it was
good
like 6
business
degrees, and
strategy.
it was great.
That
Yeah,
is.
right.
We'll make a few
That's
bucks.
like it's really cool because like the hotel was like, we don't have any internet and there's no more food coming, and it's like there's nowhere to go and there's no gas stations. We're like, like Death Valley, got it. Like now it makes sense. But it was a cool
The
thing.
hotel is killing everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's the Bates Motel. But yeah, it was great. Like I said, I love the Tech Air off road. I think the 7X is probably my favorite current one in the line. But I also dig the Helite stuff. It's just a matter of whether people want a mechanical or algorithm based, really.
Yeah, I think for like daily riding, I really like my backpack. But for when I do get out into the woods and into the adventure-y stuff, I might when I get out and get irresponsible, I'll probably need need something a little more suited.
Yeah, let me know. Like I said, I won't be riding mine, so you're welcome to borrow it. Because like I won't be riding for probably a couple months. So if you're okay with already sweaty gear, you're welcome to test it out.
Hey, I'm down.
So I have a question. I understand the tethered. You come off the bike, poof. The algorithm based ones, how do they test that? Like, I can see somebody just being like, going, okay, let me low side this thing, and
Yeah,
it didn't go off. We need to tweak it. Like,
that's exactly what it was. Yeah, it was
Was it
literally
really?
the pro racers crashing, and they were like, it didn't go off. Like, oh, shit. And it was like like all the years where it didn't come to market. I think they said by the time they came to market, they had like tens to hundreds of thousands of miles already logged on the algorithm system, and they just had to do slight tweaks to protect at a stoplight, really, because it's the same telemetry, it's the same gyroscopes and accelerometer and all that for the road versions. It's just like you got to be protected from a rear end crash, basically. Was what they were looking to. So yeah, it was literally testing. Like that's what those pro riders get paid millions for.
Well, stuntmen. That's what they were.
If I recall,
me.
the Alpine Stars as well. Every time you if you plug it into a computer, or like maybe if it does it over Wi-Fi, but like every time you plug it in, it offloads its data. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And like
Yeah,
updates their servers.
I think you have to allow it now just because of certain rules by certain
Yeah,
municipalities and
privacies
stuff.
and
But it's
stuff.
like, yeah, like they're constantly learning. So the algorithm is like, if there's a non-deployment or deployment, it sends it back. And then like if ASARS has to do anything, it's a firmware update and it goes on your phone. Like I believe you like if there's a firmware update needed, it won't let you turn the unit on and connect without saying like, hey, like give us 5 minutes, let's update your firmware and get you protected, just to
Yeah.
make sure that you have the accurate information. But
Wow.
yeah, it's really cool tech, and like that's probably why it took 5 years for the off-road to come to market, because they were crashing at Dakar with it. And like that's probably the most extreme version of off-road racing at high speeds that you can really get to.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
wild. Those guys have
and that's why.
balls of steel.
Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do with motocross and supercross, because like, what is a hard landing versus a hard takeoff versus like a rut that kind of kicks sideways? Does that make it deploy? And then you look at like Levi Kitchen in Supercross. I forget, it was one of the like later races in the year when he went off the track and slammed on a pure concrete with the back of his
Yeah.
head. And
Oh,
it's like in that situation, it's like doesn't matter the rest. Like you want it to go off because like that could end your career. Like that could be a huge issue at a certain point. So yeah,
You'd almost need somebody on your crew to like watch you and have a remote deployment, like an emergency, like whoops. I
yeah,
don't know
yeah.
if that'd be
mean,
a thing.
Just have
But
someone constantly there, but you like sneeze and actually send it off like, while they're in the middle of the turn. Like, oh crap.
oh God.
Yeah.
and you see
I
somebody
still
out there
think
Michelin manning, just like I can't race.
Yeah, I'd love to see what it's like, because like we have comms for racers in MotoGP, or not MotoGP, in Formula One. I'd love to see comms like I know Cardo and like Taylor Belts for Cardo is always at like the VR46 ranch, and they're all chatting. Like Travis Pastrana's done the mini moto days at his like the mini races, and it's like they're all on speakers. Everybody's listening to the trash talking all the way around. It's like I'd love to hear those MX guys and what they're saying to each other in the corners, yelling at each other. But it's like I don't know if microphones would be a good idea, because you don't want to be like hear any of what they're saying. But I just think like the technology advancing in racing is so cool to watch, and like kind of I think we're in like the golden age of tech advancements for them.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
So what, 5:20? Do we want to jump
Okay.
into the quick shifter?
Yeah, let's do that. I got to remember how that works. Okay, here we go.
Welcome to the question.
We're professionals.
Oh no, it buffing. All right.
Wrap the boner. Really?
That's why I couldn't speak for a minute.
I know. That's why I said it.
Thanks. All right, the quick shifter. So what this is, Pat kind of gave you a heads up. We just kind of hit a couple kind of newsworthy things that are in the motorcycle industry, and then take 30, 40 seconds just to kind of chat about it. So you who knows nothing about bikes can talk about bikes. So
I'll ride them.
yeah, we may extend the quick shifter a little bit, but some of these. But number one, BMW has a new CEO, and he says if they want to be successful around the globe, they need to start racing around the globe, suggesting the company's intent to enter MotoGP.
Ooh. That'll be
So
interesting. I mean, they do say, Pat in the chat, I love this. I know, they say you win on Sunday, sell on Monday. So, that's been a thing for years and years and years. But
I guess there's some legitimacy to that, because
I mean, there was I guess it was the mid 2000s. There's a couple companies in Europe that were doing rally racing that proved it. Like they would win a rally Saturday, Sunday, and on Monday their sales jumped like 30% throughout the rest of that week, and then they would lose for a couple rounds and they'd win again and their sales would jump.
huh?
I mean, it's been proven.
What do you think about
I mean,
that, Chase?
I don't know if I agree with the win on Sunday, buy on Monday thing. But I mean, I think it's cool. The more I ride BMWs, the more I really enjoy them. I rode that 1250 GS a few weeks ago, and I totally understand the GS thing. So, especially some of the more recent BMWs, because like 4 years ago, all the BMWs felt like I might as well be playing a video game. I was just asking an electronic thing to do something for me. But however they're handling their throttling and stuff like that, and the more recent bikes does feel like you have a much better connection to the bike, in my opinion. So I think it's awesome. I would love the opportunity to ride more BMWs because their new stuff seemed fantastic. So yeah, power to them.
Patty Rick was yawning while you were
Sorry.
talking about all that.
I get it.
I mean, you got to kick some Ducatis off the grid, like in order to have more OEMs come on. Because I mean, how many Ducatis are out there at this point? 6, 8.
Quite
I
a
mean,
few.
so it's like, yeah, you got to trim the field, which I'm all for because it's like Ducati's just winning. But I'd be curious to see how in the past, call it 5 years, how Ducati's been doing sales wise with their sport bikes. I mean, obviously it's a luxury brand, but it's like they've gone from someone who had to have extra engines and extra rules just for them to be competitive to winning almost every weekend at this point. So I'd be curious if that arc went, or how Honda's been doing now that they've had Jet Lawrence, Chase Sexton, and Hunter Lawrence all winning the championships nonstop with Honda dirt bikes. Like, I'd be curious to see if that actually comes with a boost in sales as well.
Well, I don't have that information.
I want to see numbers. I'll say that
Yeah.
because I'm an idiot, so it doesn't mean much. But I'm curious to see numbers.
Yeah.
I was saying to seeing numbers, not you being an idiot. Just
I mean, both are true though.
Both can be true.
Yeah,
They're
what
not
kind of a sales pat?
Anyway, next up, the land of 10,000 lakes, which is Minnesota for those of you who paid attention in social studies class, has legalized lane filtering, signed into law by the governor, but it won't go into effect until July 1st of 2025. So every once in a while we hear about another state that's considering or, proposing or signing in lane filtering and such. So I don't know that I would necessarily do it, but it's always good to see a little backing.
I mean, I can neither confirm nor deny what Chase and I do at red lights, but in the state of Georgia,
I'm not getting under that bus. I am getting.
It is
I
not
am
specifically illegal to filter at a red light. It is not necessarily legal, but it is not illegal either.
I think this is interesting. I was having a conversation the other day with somebody similar to what you said, Ghost. If you are in the motorcycle industry long enough, you have seen plenty of these. A couple of people will post online where it's this petition and everybody wants them to get signed, and then it happens for like 3 days, and then you just don't hear about it anymore, except for 2 years later, that same petition starts making its way around. So, I mean, one state at a time. I'm totally here for this. I hate the idea that I can't legally get out of traffic, especially in an area where people drive super aggressively. I hate putting it in their hands to stop and not turn me into a sandwich. So I'm totally here for that. One state at a time, let's make it a thing.
I think
safely, obviously.
Agreed. I think there needs to be a distinct difference between lane filtering and lane splitting. I believe technically the law for California is like filtering is when you're moving through stopped traffic at below 5 miles an hour or something like that. Where splitting, it's not supposed to be done unless traffic is moving below X speed, and you can only be doing so much of a difference to what traffic is doing. Where like what we see in California is dudes doing 100 miles an hour down the freeway, blasting through, or like 65 miles an hour even, blasting through people, and I'm like, that's just sketchy.
Yeah, there's got to be some self-governing in the riding community. Like there's always going to be that group as long as those are the outcasts and the outlaws. I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't say it's like I do split lanes because I come down a very almost bumper to bumper 24/7 highway to the city, and it's like the amount once recreational marijuana became legal in Jersey and medical in Pennsylvania, it seems like every fifth car is, I don't know what they do for work, is smoking a joint on the way to work at 7 a.m. That it's like I'm not sitting in front of or behind that person, but it's like I don't do it north of first gear. I'm just trickling through cars, and it's like just stops. Like I just get back in my lane when I'm there. I'd love to just talk to a cop about that and be like, here's why. See it from my angle. If you want to give me a ticket, give me a ticket. That's totally fine. I'm probably still going to do it.
I feel like in Atlanta, though, there's just so much aggression in driving that people will see you coming up in the rear view and will be like, "Nuh-uh, not what gives you the right to go." And
that definitely happens. That 100% happens. They will see you coming, like filtering down, and like same description as you were talking, Pat. Like this is low speed shit, and its cars stopped, and you will literally see a car who has like 5 feet ahead of them will turn their wheel all the way to inch to block you, and that's what I meant by like aggressive driving. It's just like you're not going to slow them down, right? You're not going to add to their day at all, but it's this kind of like win and lose mentality where if you pass me or you do something, like people like get aggressive here. I don't know how it is where you are, Pat, but
I gotta be the furthest forward in this stopped traffic. Like, why?
If I gotta wait, so
for us, and I spend more time. Like if I see, like I try to wave to everybody that moves out of the way and it gives extra space. Like, yeah, like hell
Right.
yeah, you're awesome. And I'm not really just like I'm not rev bombing. I'm not doing anything. I give like I have a pretty loud street trip. I think I have a Two Brothers on mine without the core in it. And it's like I just give a little pop, 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 just to let people know I'm like I'm creeping up. Like don't mind me. I'm just coming through. But if anytime I see someone swerve into to block, I tend to cut behind them, go around, and then keep going. And it's like I mean they might get a Philadelphia hand
And then do
signal
you wave
back to
still?
them. Yeah, and then
That's
like
still like
it's not a
thanks.
wave, but it is something.
Well,
And it's
you're
like
letting them
anytime
know
I
that
see it,
they're
I try to
number
let them know.
one.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And that's like I pass cops too. Cops have moved out of the way. It's like in the city of Philadelphia, they're more understanding with it. They kind of get it. 76 is the highway here. It's like it's a nightmare. They totally understand it.
Yeah.
In the suburbs, if I do it to a cop, I'd imagine I'd be in handcuffs before I can even have that explaining conversation. So when I get out to here, it typically is a little bit lighter, but I'm not sitting with anybody who's doing any drugs in traffic. It's like I'm gonna respectfully move away from you and just do it as nice and politely as I can.
Yeah,
Right.
Chase, you got your short shorts on again? The chat wants
No,
to.
I got regular shorts.
Look at
Just got
those
half the thigh
calves.
out.
Yeah, I would say calves for days.
Dude, the baby
these
cows
things?
are real over there.
I did give them a glimpse of it earlier too, of the surgery leg, which is like a toothpick now. I got one toothpick leg and one ever because I haven't been using it for a month
Oh, poor guy.
or 3 months, I should say.
Anyway, let's
I'm
let's hit this.
I'm not doing the work from home thing where I have the button up on the top and just boxers below. I am clothed, gentlemen.
Most of the time.
No, fair.
Anyway, last topic. Italian EV company Energica signs a 3-year extension to the partnership with German tech giant Siemens for continued development and optimization of battery performance. So I know that the EV market has kind of had a little downturn. People have kind of like meh, and that's always the concern about the range, recharge time. But that still shows that there's still some interest in making this viable.
I mean, I think it has its place. I think the city commute kind of people, it's definitely going to work for, and that's still my thought for like electric cars as well. Because like I understand it has its place. But I'm going to side with Toyota, Subaru, Mazda, and Honda that internal combustion is still the way of the future. Now, what that fuel looks like and where it's derived from, I don't know. I know that Honda's or Toyota's even got an ammonia-based engine that they're working on. So that's
Like
a thing.
pneumonia, like the coal.
Ammonia.
Oh, ammonia. Okay, I was
Yeah,
very
sorry.
confused on the other.
Yeah.
You
Sorry.
can only drive your car if you're deathly ill.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
You
we're
got
getting a
me
lot of miles
coughing
in
into
this
like a
group chat
tube.
this week.
That's
yeah,
how we
I
cure
mean, like-
cancer, guys. Cars run off cancer, and you just have to plug into the car to go. You
Oh,
drive
God.
enough, your cancer
Well,
will be exhausted.
Oh.
Jeez. Yeah, we're moving on.
I mean, deathly ill, right? Same.
The same thing.
I
So
wonder what the last quick shifter thing is. Do we have more?
no, that was it.
Well, then I have
mean,
one.
I was
you
gonna say
have one.
I have one note. I have one note on that electronic one if I may beforehand. It's amazing how many ex-dirt racers are obsessed with once they retire, they start riding casually with electric bikes. So it's funny to see like how the market looks at it versus like the pro racers are more excited than ever to get like a fast, freakishly fast bike. But what the future is of that, who knows? But it is fun to see.
The amount of
that was the
electric
only thing
bikes
I wanted to
at Barber Small Bore was wild.
say.
And they're fast as hell. But it's
Yeah.
just like the Surons, Ultra Bs, and stuff like that that were out there. It's crazy. My little quick shifter thing, I'm surprised you didn't see this, guys. BMW has recently announced their automatic transmission that they're working on, or their automatic manual. KTM announced one as well, I think, this week.
Okay.
For rodeo, yeah, they had it was like under wrap prototypes of automatic transmission KTM's.
Yeah, they had a couple of them. I think they had one for the 1390 Duke.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
So
I like
years ago, Honda stirred up the old
Mhm.
school riders with their DCT, and now you've got this and this. So we're going to have a lot of people complaining about that. I think it's just another option,
Yeah.
removing a barrier of entering motorcycling, which I think is a good thing. More
I'll
options.
agree with that.
So yeah.
Bo makes a good point that electric dirt bikes make more sense because they're not going for distance. I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
I think the electric
The,
off-road is definitely where it's at.
It's funny. Well, we were talking about Andy Greaser, who was at the event that you were at Barber this weekend. He's one to research the hell out of everything, but it was funny to hear. Like, I think the history of DCT bikes and like automatic transmissions can be taken back to Purple Rain, and the fact that the singer and
Prince.
Prince.
thank you, Prince, the artist formerly known as, didn't
Yeah.
know how to shift and didn't know how to ride the bike, so they had set one up for him, and it kind of turned into like the idea and the craze. So whatever bike he was riding in Purple Rain was in fact a DCT because he didn't know how to ride a motorcycle, and they took that out of there. And then like that was where the technology had a little bump then, and it's cool to see it kind of come back and have
Huh.
more of a bump. I like shifting. I don't
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
see the need for it, but I mean, I think timing it just like shifting a fast car. Timing it is everything, and it kind of is more like, whew, like, that's fun. Like I hit it
Yeah.
perfectly. It was like, I did a bad job. So
Yeah. I believe more companies need to make manual cars. Manual cars need to make a comeback. I remember my this may have been my dad that told me about this, but like when you first got your driver's license, you had to get it on a manual transmission. It was required back in
Mhm.
the day, and that's the way
yeah,
I think it still should be. It's a skill
yeah.
everybody needs to have.
My mom had to learn on my dad's 1970 Chevelle
Like,
because that was the only thing they had, and he was like, "I need you to take this car home," and she was like, "Ah, I guess I'm learning today." So I was like, I think back in the day, people were more badass than they are now. So yeah,
I
Yeah.
learned
Well, it's
on
also
a
kind of you had to, because like you said, that's the only car. So
yep.
yeah, I learned
uh,
on a John Deere tractor, and the first truck I drove was a Ford. The first manual, like actual car, was a F100 with a 3 on the tree, which is such a weird thing to
Mm,
drive.
awesome name, weird
Hmm.
to drive. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's what my daily is, a WRX hatchback, and it was like that's
Ah, I
there's
gotta.
the most fun thing I have. Like, but shifting to me in any vehicle is fantastic, and it's like that's how you learn more about riding. Like riding off road is very hard when you're learning how to control the bike, but once it becomes second nature, I think it's like you can get so much more out of like shifting and knowing exactly what gear for hill climbs, for fast track, for grass sections. Like you can just have more fun with it, in my opinion. But I'm pro less technology in my off road bikes and pro more technology in my street bikes.
I didn't know you had a
mm.
Subaru.
Yeah, yeah, I got the
I have
hatch.
I have your '05 Forester XT with a 5-speed.
Yeah, yeah. Subaru and transmissions, they're known for lasting forever.
So good, so
Yeah,
good. Made out of glass.
Oh, the puppers is back.
Oh, hello.
yeah, yeah. I know. It's always funny. He comes up for a lot of these meetings that I have in my office, but he's a bear.
Oh
He's a
Oh,
God.
Patty Rick. He's a Patty Rick dog.
Yeah, that's a Patty Rick dog 8 days a week. My dog
Yeah,
is on his
well,
way home from daycare right now with the wife.
yeah. I
that's
got another
cool.
one too, but she's sitting in front of the fan because it's raining and like 100 degrees outside today up here in Philly.
Gross.
Gross.
Nice.
Very
Gross.
Yeah.
gross.
Yep, 1-800 fuck that.
Yeah,
Nice.
To be fair, it's 85 and raining here, so
Not bad.
nah, it's not
No,
terrible.
great for Georgia, actually.
That's yeah.
yeah.
I'll take that. So well, cool. We could shift gears a little bit. Maybe go chat if y'all have any questions about gear, airbags, anything. Go ahead and drop it. But thought we could maybe shift gears, huh? To other. We made a community post and there was a couple comments over there, so we can start with that and then see what comes in the chat or where it goes. But earlier in the chat, one of our buddies, Control Alt Owned, he said, Pat, is there any talk of gear manufacturers improving the CE level armor in gear? So I guess it's already to a certain standard now. Is there an evolution beyond that?
Yeah, so right now it's there's level 1 and level 2, which most people know about. Level 1 is about, I want to say, 35 kilonewtons of force for armor at the elbow, shoulder. Um, about 35 kilonewtons can pass through to the body for level 1, 20 kilonewtons for level 2, and then for the back protectors, it's actually more stringent. It's 18 and 9. With you get higher impact protection the lower the number. Um,
It's
I'd
the
say
maximum
yes.
amount of force that can pass through, correct?
Yeah, yeah. So it dissipates the rest of it and only allows that much to go through. That's what the armor is tested to. And honestly, it's like the conversation has been around for years of that should be improved. I think more so in the past since April 1st, exactly. Because I remember the day because I thought it was an April 1st, April Fool's joke. Was Ryan Ford 9 posted a video about not wearing armor anymore because it's useless. And the internet kind of took off in two directions, some defending him, most critiquing that
Yeah, the internet went
assessment.
crazy on that video.
Yeah, and it's like, and he even started videos like, "This isn't April Fool's. This is how I see the industry." But he does a great job of diving into the statistics. But the problem with it is, like, first of all, everybody in the U.S. we mooch off of the European Union standards. the factories only make the warehouse, or the factories for all these armor companies only make one standard. The US just kind of adopted it, not legally. We just come to that conclusion. Same with level A, AA, AAA when it comes to abrasion resistance. So yes, I see advancements coming. Not that I know of anything, but it's like, I mean, it takes them 10 years to update the 2022-06 from 2205. Like, they have to come together. Every country has to agree on it. They have to show testing. Every brand that builds gear has to be aware of it and agree to it, because then they have to destroy all their inventory and sell only new, because you can't sell by date with that. So yeah, I see advancements coming, especially now that we know airbags can protect. But at a certain point, CE level 1 armor is half as thick as CE level 2. Once you make armor thicker and better, it does become thicker and stiffer, so it's harder to move around. So it's like, yeah, I see it advancing. It's going to be materials that advance more than just us saying we want it to be, 5 times stronger, because it's just going to be a plate of steel, and that ain't going to move very well for us riding in traffic. So like, there's advancements coming, but there's going to be more tech that's coming. And to be honest, the motorcycling industry isn't going to be what starts it. We're a small industry compared to car impact protection. We're a small industry compared to like sporting event impact protection. We'll see the advancements come in those. MIPS, perfect example. That's a bicycle technology that was like, oh, well, motorcycles can use this as well. And it just kind of drifted over because bicycling is massive everywhere in the world. Motorcycling smaller. So yeah, I see advancements coming. It's just like, there has to be something good that's also financially stable for the brands to put in their gear.
And
You heard it here
most
first. 2025 plate mail
Yeah.
coming to motorcycling, just like
Yeah.
Knights.
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
Available at chaseontwowheels.com.
CE
Indian
level
nerd, eat your heart
15.
out. But correct me if I'm wrong. I believe MIPS has moved into like a lot of sporting helmets as well, so like football and hockey and things of that nature. It's kind of
Yeah.
trickled down into those industries as well.
Yeah,
Which again,
MotoGP. Yeah,
Mhm.
they're starting to get it. I think this year, or I think it was this year, was the first time we saw anybody with it. And I think you're just going to see now that MIPS can put it in any helmet. It doesn't have to be designed to fit the MIPS. They're getting technology that you can put in anything. Maybe even as replacement liners in the near future. Like, you could just replace your top liner with a MIPS top liner, like, and add it in there. You're starting to see all these people attached to it, because a lot of the MotoGP guys are obsessed with bicycling. They have it in their helmets, and they don't know why they don't have it in their street helmets. So yeah, I honestly, I think it's coming. It's just going to be a matter of like, it has to also make financial sense. Like, airbags is the latest and greatest in safety innovation, and the number one thing people say is like, yeah, but it's $1,000. I don't have that money. It needs to be cheaper. It's like, yeah, but like it has to be like, the companies can't make it any cheaper until it becomes a norm and is like, oh, it's got some tail. They have investors. They have the money that they need to make back from all the tech they put into it. So it's like, we'll see it. It's just a matter of when, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Great question, though. I love, like I said, that's what I geek out on. I love this stuff. That's why you all talk about quick shifters and tail lights and handlebars and everything like that. I got the helmets and jackets and stuff. I'm happy with it.
Nice. Couple more questions from the chat. Back to airbags. Do you see any advancements coming up in the airbag tech in the next few years?
Yes. Every month from Alpine Stars, it seems like there's a new option available.
Okay, that one was easy. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's like we're in like the smartphone phase where it's like every year there's something cool they want to add in. Like, even the changing your canisters yourself from Alpine Stars, like, that's going to probably go across their whole line. Like, I've already talked to some pro riders at MX and Supercross are already going to start using it, because soon FIM is going to mandate MXGP to have airbags, so it's going to trickle into other industries there. But I've also seen a new one that's coming in a couple months that's dual canister tethered airbag. So it actually has a full bladder in the back and a full bladder in the front that deploy simultaneously. So you actually have much more airbag coverage and quicker. Because the problem is, like, a canister, it's just like if you were to take a shot of nitrogen and fill up a balloon, it takes time to fill up the whole balloon to the point where it's actually got some give back. And that's really what like the 100 milliseconds, the 50 milliseconds for all these brands really is. But it's like 2 canisters, doesn't cut the time in half, but it substantially reduces the amount of inflation time. So we're seeing a lot of advancements moving forward. It's really cool to see and be a part of too.
Nice.
Yeah, because you're on that cutting edge. You see all this stuff. I'm assuming, you see it weeks, I'm sure, but maybe even months before kind of the standard consumer can get their hands on it.
Yeah, and like I sit in, so we have buyers like any other .com has purchasers, merchandisers, whatever you want to call them, they actually place the orders with Alpine Stars. So it's like in order to get, you have to meet with them like usually 6 months in advance to place your order, and then the factory knows how many make for that brand and go out there. Since Revzilla and for those that don't know, we're partnered with Cycle Gear as well, so we can kind of pool our orders. We're usually ordering the minimum quantity that the brand needs to make it. Like our order is sufficient enough for that to help out. So it's like we do get to see it earlier and earlier just because we got to get those orders in and plan for the future. So I sit in those meetings, and that's the nice part about translating that information to our videos is like usually embargo dates were created in our industry because Anthony Bucci used to break them all the time without knowing he was breaking them. So all these brands like can't talk about this until this date because it's like we have like a marketing campaign, we want to talk about it. Whereas like they started doing that because Anthony was so good at like telling things early, which is really funny. But it's like we see them as early as possible. Like I said, the airbags I'm talking about with the dual canister, like that's a spring launch. For 2025, we just saw a lot of Alpine Stars' spring 2025 launch last week. Out in Italy. I didn't go out to that trip, but it's like we're starting to see stuff for 2025 now to get in and actually help out with the designing, what we hear from customer feedback, and like just passing that information along to the brands.
Right on, right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are big fans of embargo here at C2 Dub. We love a good embargo.
That's why I always before I talk, I'm like, what day is it? Yeah, I can talk about that.
Yeah.
I'm super good at that.
Yeah. Well, in fairness, Chase never actually says the thing he's not supposed to say, but he does give enough that we know.
I go into having the sentence, and then my brain kicks on. It's like shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. So it always ends up being. I know. I just get excited about stuff, and then it ends up just being a giant freaking tease for everybody because I'm like, oh guys, there's this awesome thing that I will talk about in 2 weeks.
Yeah. The thing I saw on the news, and that, like, I mean, the hard part for gear bikes when they launch, it's usually a worldwide embargo. Like it's lifted, everybody knows about it. With gear, they freaking launch things in Europe, and then like now US, nothing exists. Like don't worry about it. And we're like, yeah, but like we see a Neotech 3 from Shelly, it's right there. And it's the same name in Europe. And they're like, yeah, we don't know when one's coming to the US. And they're like looking at us like, Revzilla, like, you can't talk about it. And I'm like, we're not, but everybody's calling us and asking questions about it. Like, we're not the ones talking about it. And then we'll find some like Joe Schmo on YouTube. He was like, I got my hands on the new Neotech 3 from Europe, and here's all the information. And we're like, and here we can't talk about it because we have like contract with them that is like we have to like adhere to. But it's just so funny to see. It's like it's a crap show. Embargoes, everybody breaks embargoes. They just hope they don't. Alpine Stars breaks their own embargo every time they launch a product. Like that Alpine Stars helmet came out 6 months early than anybody could talk about it, but they started selling it 6 months before the embargo. Like everything's wonky.
Dude, bike launches are like that too. The MT09 bike launch, by the time I had gone out, the European bike launch was like 3 months before then. So I was like, man, this video is going to hit real freaking hard. Like, you know, you're like, I'm going to put this out at 9 o'clock on the day. And then you start doing research, you're like, there's already like 40 videos online of just literally, like there's a guy that went to his dealership and bought one and then made a video of him riding it home. And his video is going to go live before my video in America. So it's like, cool. Glad we have embargoes. This is great.
It's sometimes it's a good thing though, because you can just go to your dealership and be like, I'm not going to waste the time traveling cross country or going to this strip or anything.
No, that was the situation. Our dealership that we do a lot of our first rides at was like, hey, we have a brand new MT09. I'm like, dude, I leave next Tuesday. Like, I'm just going to go. You know what I mean? I could have like, we can pump a first start out in a day. So I was like, I had the opportunity to like put it out, but I was like, I'd rather go off to some place in California and, you know, ride some awesome road that I don't know about instead of doing the regular, you know, testing route here.
Yeah, I did a press launch earlier this year that like the day I flew out there, a buddy of mine posted a story that he was picking up the bike from the dealer. And I shot him a message, was like, I'm at this press launch right now. There's an embargo on this for 2 days. The dealers aren't supposed to have the bikes for 2 weeks. How do you have that? And he sent me a picture of it in his garage. He's like, I don't know, man. I saw it on the internet, so I went and got it.
Yeah. He's like, the dealer doesn't have it. I do.
Yeah, I was like, I mean, all right.
I solved the problem. I bought it.
Arai invited us to the XT5 launch, and it was like 3 months after our video already went live of us testing it out, and we're like, no, like we're okay, thank you though. Like we've already gotten, and like honestly, that happened.
What do you think about the video though?
More than that, it was like they yelled at us for posting it too early, and then we found them doing a video on the Arai on YouTube, and it's like you can't and we found it on eBay for sale. Like someone got their sales sample and then posted on eBay to sell it. And it was just like, so we can't sell it right now. We can't talk about it, but like I can go buy it online on eBay. So yeah, man, it's a weird industry, man. And people just burn bridges left and right with a couple things.
Yeah, it's wild.
Flamethrowers just.
From what I've heard, Pat needs to stay away from eBay. So
I do have an eBay problem, especially when I am drinking at night.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Another question from our buddy Bo. He said, I see a lot more manufacturers making kits with less protection built in, opting more for separate armor. Is that a good thing or not? And I guess like wearing protection under instead of built in.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Yes and no, mostly no. The reason I say that is like the old expression that we have that we teach, like that's how we teach it at Revzilla. Like most of our gear geeks have to go through like 3 months of testing to like not testing. Like we don't like pencils down. No, it's like we like teaching them and getting them ground up. Like this is what everything in the safety. Like take your time, learn about everything so you can help people over the phone. And it's like the number one thing we tell them is like, you tell me how you're going to crash, I'll tell you exactly what to ride. It's like the unknown variable is what you're trying to account for. So for me, it's like there's no point in wearing a jacket without armor. And I think like I critique brands with that sell like just abrasion resistant material, and it's like, yeah, you can buy the armor if you want later, and it's like that's 50% of it right there. It's like, yeah, I want to protect from road rash, but I also don't want to slam my elbow into the ground like and hurt that. So technically, to me, it's like I see why some brands do it because you can get a lower price by excluding the armor. Obviously, like armor's like $20-$30. Material cost is much lower than that, but it's like if you remove that, you can sell it on its own. But I mean, I've been yelled at by brands who are like, they come to the market, they decide to lower the price and not include the armor, and it's like to sell more of it, and then the armor's right there, it's for sale, but you get in people's like in their shopping carts and you're able to shop, and like we critique them, and it's like, why? Like, but it's a good sales thing. I was like, yeah, I don't care. Like I critique gear that doesn't have armor in it is getting a negative in that category. Sorry, like that's just how it goes. But you can easily add it in there. So like I think we're going to get to an era when jackets all include back protectors in there. I think that era of brands getting away with that's probably going to go in the next like 5 years. I'd hope at that point.
Yeah, I don't buy a jacket that doesn't have armor built in. Generally, I'm a climb guy for the most part, but I've got some first gear stuff as well, and I have some old, I have some very old like Fox stuff, but I do have some Sedici stuff as well. And like, if it doesn't have armor built into it and it's not at least 600 denier, like I'm not touching it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, and that's why a lot of people are, and I know, I think it was Yanni who talked about it in one video where it's like, if it doesn't have an abrasion level like A, AA, AAA, like it's crap. And it's like, that's not really true because you only have to test that certification if you sell in Europe. If like a brand is only sold here in the US, you can use the same fabric, but why pay an extra $15, which then turns into $30 for the customer in the MSRP for a market you're not even in? Like some will do it. It tends to raise the price, but like a lot of the gear and a lot of the materials come from the same exact factory. So like a lot of the times they'll be like, hey, like if you see something in there that does say the fabric is tested to this, but it doesn't have the certification, that basically means like, yeah, it's like we know it'll survive the same amount, but we didn't pay for the tag in there so that we can sell in the European Union. So yeah, I think there's like that's a key thing, but it's always changing, it's always growing, but it's like just knowing exactly what you need to protect. If you got a bum knee, make sure you have knee armor. If you got a bad back, make sure you have back protector.
If you have both, cry a little bit.
Yeah, that's me.
That sounds way too logical.
Both the pads out here are broken as fuck. What up?
Oh, we got a fun question from Andy Uguni. Oh gosh, Pat, what do you think about the Smart Helmet 6.9?
Yeah, I saw that. I was very curious about it. I don't know. Do you guys have a sample I can test out?
Yeah, Andy, send a sample and we'll
be careful the road you're going down.
Yeah. What was the helmet that was like? It had all the name has escaped me. I know what it is because I've had millions of conversations with them. It was the startup that had the smart helmet that never
Chase
came
knows.
Scully.
Yeah, when I read that name, Smart Helmet 6.9, it seems like a very shady version of the Scully.
What it is a dirt bike helmet with an iPad duct taped to it.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, that's for your passenger. They can do like Sudokus while they're going down.
No. It's in
That's-
front
Oh
of you.
wow!
Oh, it's in
Actually,
front.
that
No,
might
it's
be
on the back.
the best user case for
It's on the
that,
back.
because I always
Yeah.
looked at that photo that they've made as ridiculous. But you bring up a great point. An iPad attached to the back would be perfect for a passenger. Wow,
Yeah,
we
it's
found the
like,
market,
just the
boys.
built-in
You are
monitors.
you are the gear guy. Holy shit!
That's what I'm there for. I've been there because I've sat on the back whenever like we break down and get on Adventure Fest. Somehow I always get voluntold to be on the back of somebody's bike. It's like I'm just sitting there like holding on to their backpack like I'm freaking bored. Like, this is like not riding. It's like I'm not gonna look at the road. What's the point? And I'm just kind of like sitting back there. So yeah, maybe I'll just pull out my phone and start texting. I think I took a selfie video of Spurgeon and I in Mojave, California, and I was had like Dancing Queen I think playing on it, and I was just drifting behind him like on the back, making the bike drift. I was just having a blast. Like it's boring back there.
That's awesome.
Bo asked
Well-
a good question: armored pants or knee braces for off-road?
What type of off road? If it was that Wyoming route that we did where it's gravel and like I'd probably go with I mean I was wearing knee braces that whole day. To me, I'm always doing stupid stuff even if I'm on a casual road. So if your ADV bike is only getting touch and tarmac or like a fire road, you're probably best. And if you're doing multiple days, especially like people think like I have to be protected. I'm going cross country off road, or doing like the BDR. I got to be super protected. But dang man, after the first day, you don't want to put knee braces on ever again for like a little while. So I'd say armor would probably be the best bet. But like I have bad knees. Get on Adventure Fest. You saw us rolling around. Like I'm
Like
doing.
goons.
Yeah, I'm typically doing 11 to 1,200 miles for that like week. Pure off-road and pure ADV routes and everything, and running them 3 days while customers aren't there. And when you get there, we typically do 1 or 2 routes a day. So it's like I'm in full dirt gear and dirt get up, like knee braces, boots, dirt pants, full chest, and like back protectors. And like I got my big climb arsenal rig with all my snacks in it.
Yep.
That I know you guys were loving. I got butt wipes, I got snacks, I got extra water, I got a couple Red Bulls. Like I'm a walking refrigerator at a certain point.
Yeah.
And my body probably shows that. But it's like I'm set up for a dirt ride and like surviving. And it's like so I'm that route, but I'm next to not protected on the road sections because like I trust myself in those areas to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
So
All right.
yes, I'd go knee braces. That's me. I got an ACL blown out and it wasn't from motorcycles. So take it for what it's worth. But it's like I swear
Definitely
by
wear
knee
knee
braces.
braces going forward.
Yeah. Yeah, every time I play ice hockey with drunk guys, I'm gonna start wearing knee braces because apparently that's where the danger is. My mom was lying to me for years. It's not
knee-
motorcycle. It's ice
Knee
hockey.
braces or chainmail, whichever one.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean that's the trade off when it comes to gear. And it's funny you mentioned chainmail because like people are always like, I wish like it was super protected. It's like yeah, but like chainmail and like anything metal, anything like that would suck to ride in on a daily basis. So it's like there's give and take in all these armor areas.
Oh, yeah.
The most protective thing in the world would just be bubble wrap, like that kid in Mighty Giants. Like when they just wrap them up in all the gear and everything like that. But it's like, but you won't be able to ride a motorcycle doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Mm.
The Mighty Giants, Little Giants was a movie, my childhood.
There
I'm
you
a
go.
'90s baby. Gotta reference it.
Well, before we wrap up, there's one important thing we need to do.
just the tip.
Chase, you
Ghost
ready
of
for
the
it?
week. I'm gonna make it. It's gonna
All
be
right.
awesome.
You've been saving your energy. You can go to sleep after this.
Oh, come on.
Time for the ghost of the week. Yay! That was great. Ghost tip of the week. This is sponsored by Ghost on Two Wheels over on Instagram, of course. Speaking of tips,
You're going to share
I
the
have to let
screen?
I have to let my previous self do the entire intro for Ghost Tip of the Week. Alrighty, guys, Ghost Tip of the Week. If you ever find a toilet while you are dreaming, do not use it. You'll wake up pissed.
It's
That's
just
fair.
true. You have that dream where you're like peeing in the woods. No, you're not. You're peeing in your bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How terrible.
You feel
will
so
be pissed.
relieved until you're like, I'm in my bed.
Why am I wet?
You feel relieved until you get snapped back to reality.
Where's McHugh
Yeah.
with those wipes?
It was like those TikToks for a little while where someone's dreaming about scoring like a Euro Cup UEFA goal, and it just shows them way in the middle of the bed picking their wife like full speed. Like it's like what happened?
It's exactly like that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's funny.
Oh,
Nice,
boy.
Ghost.
Got
Mm.
a super chat.
We got a super chat coming in. We got to wait for the sound, right?
For a bigot of super chat, I'll deploy this airbag.
I mean, it only costs you like $40 to replace it.
I mean, I've got like 6 canisters here. I'm
There you
good.
go. Yeah, then it's
Hey,
free.
we'll do,
Do it.
we'll do that
Do it.
super chat challenge. If y'all pay enough for the cartridge, we'll see a deployment. So, super chat from Andy Uguni. Pat,
Yeah,
is Andy Uguni the best hype man? Yes or yes?
Oh man, is that Andy? Like as in the Goonies? Andy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, that guy's awesome just for that name alone.
Well, he is the smart hype man.
he,
He tries to get every kind of personality that's on social media to say smart, ride smart. He got Dan the fireman a couple times.
he's gotten him
You know.
a good bit of times at this point.
Yeah.
To the
Dan
point
I mean,
Dan
Dan,
reads the
smart.
comment and goes, "What the fuck is smart?"
he's like, I don't
Ride
know what
smart.
that is.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
Oh,
As long as it's not a helmet with a heads up display, I'm all about it.
No, it's a heads back display. It's an iPad.
Yeah, heads back
It's
display.
the
I don't
iPad.
understand the whole tech in the helmet. Yeah, I don't want
It's
that
not
stuff
there
in
yet.
there. Yeah.
It's not there yet. So,
One day.
all right. Well, I mean, that's kind of, we're at our normal time limit, but any other gear advice you want to share with the masses while you're here?
The best piece of gear is whatever you're gonna wear every time you go riding. I mean, that's
Smart
what I
man.
tell my friends. That's what I tell everybody. It's like if airbags might not be your thing. If you're like you're gonna buy it and you're never gonna wear it, what's the point? But it's like whatever
Yeah.
you want to wear to protect yourself is one less issue down the road that you might have. So I tell everybody dress for the crash, not for the ride. I mean, everybody sweats
Mhm.
riding a motorcycle. If you're really going to be feeling like you're in AC, just buy a car and have fun there. But motorcycling is dangerous, especially in the U.S. Protect yourself, and most insurance will replace your gear after an accident. So if it's a scary investment, that's the other half of it.
Yeah, the other thing
Mm.
I tell people when it comes to investing in gear, and I used to say this at the dealership I worked at all the time, because I learned this lesson the hard way. No matter how much your gear cost, a skin graft after insurance is $1,800 per square centimeter. Ask me how I know.
Yeah, yeah. My new
It's a
knee was
lesson I learned
$3,000.
the hard way. Yeah.
Ooh. I mean, that's a great point. Like, I guess a lot of people don't even think about insurance could cover gear replacement too. So
Yep.
it's like if you're worried about, oh, I use it now, I have to spend another $800 on an airbag. Well,
Yeah.
And if you
Factor in.
ride with an airbag, State Farm, I know, my insurance at least, I told them I got an airbag vest for my motorcycle, they lowered my insurance rate.
Yeah. I think that's what we're
Nice.
going to see. We're not going to see legislation change the future of
Mm-mm.
riding and safety. We're probably going to see insurance companies and the push they have change it to be like a motorcycle rider might not be able to get insurance if they don't have an airbag. Or I don't think that's really the future, but it's like you
But
get a discount, you get a savings if you're wearing a helmet, like, and you can prove it. That's the hardest part. But that's that. Yeah.
mm-hmm.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, we're motorcyclists on the internet. It's pretty easy to prove what we ride in.
Right. Well, that's what, and that's what I wanted to tell everybody. It's like if y'all have questions about gear or anything like that, I'm the one that replies to you to the YouTube channel for Revzilla,
I
which
knew it
is
was you fuck.
a cesspool just right across the board. Like I'll let everybody know. It's like if you want to not feel great about yourself modeling things on the internet, go to Revzilla's YouTube chat and feel better. But if you have questions, like I'm happy to answer it. I geek out on this stuff. I'm always happy to do it. I'm on Instagram, not this week, taking a little break from it. It's like I'm all across the board, so happy to keep answering gear all the time. I know Patty Rick pings me with questions all the time about like what's great, like which one between this one and this one, and you'd be surprised. Like that's most of my inbox, and I love it. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, I hit you up a good bit on Instagram, and I try to be active in y'all's YouTube comments when I find time to watch anyone's videos, as we're trying to crank out as many as we can make. Or,
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Awesome. Well, Pat, thanks again so much for taking some time and talking about this
Yeah.
stuff with us. It was enjoyed it. So
Yeah,
We appreciate it.
thank
sir.
you guys. This was fun, man. Always happy to do it. If y'all ever want to chat gear, let me know.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what was it you said about everyone in the chat gets an airbag from Revzilla? Is that
Yeah.
what
Just email Spurgeon Dunbar, and make sure you put in the headlines free stuff. Just send it right over to him or chat him on Instagram. Honestly, just send him a message on Instagram. Probably get to him quicker. So
Yeah.
just send it right
Blow
over to him.
his Instagram up.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh my god.
that's
I
a
think he was
joke.
watching for a little bit. I saw him pop in there for a little bit.
That may be a bit of a joke, but if a smart helmet arrives to Philadelphia, that may happen, and I'm sorry.
I mean, put it to my attention to our office, and it's going to come right to my desk, and it'll look like every other one. So I'll test it out.
Oh
Nice.
God, you might not want to test that one.
Uh-oh. All right, guys. Well, I guess we'll head it on out, but thanks again. And we'll see everyone next time. Chase, do you want to say anything, Mr. Sick Boy?
Thank you guys for watching. Pat, thank you for being here. And we will see you
Yeah.
guys on the next episode. I made it.
Oh, we have to close with this sound.
There you go.
Bye.
Tell